All right, hey there, Wade back with you. In this video, I'm going to show you the second initializer I want to show you when it comes to creating and using text fields. So I still have the same app here that we started with in the first video, so you can follow along on iPad or MacBook using Playground's app. So I just have a text field here with a text element under it so that when you type into the text field, it will auto-update that text element, okay? Now, when we are using this text field initializer, we're dealing with a string, right? A binded string right here, text field string, right? And you can see it right there. Now, let's say you want to use a text field, but perhaps you want to just worry about numbers, right? So maybe it's like enter your age or something like that. Well, if you use this, you could certainly do it, right? You could just, put your age. Let's just say I'm 25, and you'll see that it's a number. Cool, it works, but technically it's a string, not a number, right? So if you wanted to use that 25 in some sort of like math formula, you'd have to convert it back to an integer, and then, you could do it. Well, we can use a text field and get numbers instead. So let me show you a different initializer, all right? So I'll leave this all here, and let's go down. I'm gonna act like I'm typing in a text field here, right? And I'm gonna show you the one we're looking for when it comes to an initializer. There's a very close one, okay? This is the one we don't want. We don't want title, key, value, and formatter, but we do want title, key, value, and format. And you'll see that it says creates a text field that applies a format style to a bound optional value with a label generated with a localized title. Okay, so that doesn't say a whole lot, but let me show you the power of it. It's pretty cool. So I create it here, and you'll see that it's similar to when we were creating this text field. We're going to give it a we're going to give it a title, and it's going to be enter a number, okay? And then you'll see that its value is a binded parsable format style.format input, okay? And then the format is a parsable format style. And I know that means absolutely nothing to you, but let me just show you what we're going to do so that you get the gist of this here. First things first is when we see binding, think state variable, okay? That's the connection there. So we're going to make a state variable. Now, like this text field, when we were initializing this, this text wanted a string. It was a binding string variable, right? Well, this one is kind of like anything. Anything that's bound to it can be the value of it. So it could be a number, it could be a string, it could be something like that. So we're going to use a number, all right? So similar to this state variable that is a string, we're going to make one that's a number. So we'll do @state var, and let's just call it entered number. And to make it easy, let's just make it equal to 0, okay? So we know the rule here, right? When we are initializing a variable and we give it a value, the variable will be automatically typeset to that data type. So a 0 is an integer, so now entered number is a variable of type integer, right? Similar to the empty string in text field string is set to an empty string, that has set the data type of text field string to a string, okay? So this is an integer. Cool. So let's go down to binding, and just like we did with text field string, we can simply do the $ for binding, right? So $, and then we'll just do entered number, okay? And notice that it's a binding of an int, okay? Great. Now, format, parsable format style. What's really cool about this is you could be messing with something like currency, or just straight numbers like decimals, integers, what have you. And so if we just do a dot here, you'll see options. You could enter date timestamps, right? This ISO, you don't have to worry about that. Numbers, percentages, URLs. You could do all sorts of different formats here. So the one we're going to mess with is just a number. Great. So now what's happened here is we now have a text field. You'll see it with the 0 right there. And whatever we enter in here, should be a number. So like, let's say we do 400. This entered number now equals 400. And the way we can prove it is just like we did right here. Let's take a text element, let's drop it underneath, and instead of the text field string, let's do the entered number. Now notice this. Entered number is an integer, right? And a text takes a string. This is where you might get tripped up. So if we do entered number, we should get an error that says integer, we want a string, right? No exact matches in call to initializer. So in this text value, what we actually want to do is we want to do string interpolation. We want to do string, open it up, and do entered number. Okay, so we've like stringified the number. So now you'll see the text element down here is 0 and 0, and as I update this, just like the first text field, it will update. Why? Because every time that a value is entered in this text field, it's automatically stored at entered number. And since entered number is a state variable, any other view that's using that state variable will be redrawn anytime this value changes. Do you hear me like a broken record? I'm really, like in a lot of these videos, when we talk about bindings, I say this exact same thing, because if you just drill that in your head that is what's going on, it is going to help you so much as you build your apps out, understanding that when you change the state of something, it will change other parts of your app, like views. Okay, and this is one way why. All right, so this is the other initializer, and what's really cool is, you know, we're putting in a number and we get a number instead of a string. Now you could just as easily, you could do something like do a string, and it might be like entered number plus 5, right? Notice now, if I go here and I do 400, notice that it's 405, right? Because this entered number is an integer, so I can do mathematical expressions on it. And you're like, how is it writing 405? Because it's all wrapped up in a string. It's pretty cool, right? Like once you start geeking out about how all this stuff works. So that's text fields. That's the other initializer. These are the two most popular initializers that you would use when it comes to text fields. You can use a whole lot more, but I wanted to show you this one. In the next video, we're going to talk about modifiers. Yeah, let's get into modifiers and show you how to change the look of these text fields. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.